Hey, what's up, trackers? I am trying this live Q&A, so be patient with me and let's hope this goes well. Thanks for those of you that entered some questions. If you have additional questions, you can always feel free to message me. As I stated at the beginning of this challenge, it's not necessarily a coaching challenge, but if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out. I am an open book. I'm here to help as many people as possible get healthy and happy because that's what I love to do. So, first question, Holly asked, is the air fryer a good substitute for actual fried foods, or is it just as bad? So it kind of depends on what you mean by just as bad, Holly, because the air fryer, what it does and how it works is it uses circulating hot air to cook the actual meat. Most of the recipes that I've found actually call for a little bit of oil, so it gets that crispy fried kind of taste without actually deep frying the food. So that's how most people are coming to the conclusion that they are making a healthier choice, is because they're not deep frying their food. They're not using gallons of oil, dipping the food in to fry it. They're just frying it with a little bit of oil and still getting that crunchy texture. So on one hand, you are saving a ton of fat calories by not using gobs and gobs of vegetable oil. On the other hand, I have read a few articles about the air fryer possibly causing cancer. There are compounds that actually are created when you fry foods, and even in a convection setting or however the air fryer works. I'm not a huge science person, but there are compounds that are created that supposedly lead to other problems. Now, there hasn't been enough research done yet. It hasn't been around that long to know whether it actually causes these things or not, but it is something to consider. However, I think most people, we're going to see detrimental effects from obesity and cardiovascular issues and other diseases like that long before we're going to see effects from an air fryer giving us cancer. So that's kind of a toss-up. It's kind of up to you. There's a lot of things that they're saying cause cancer now, but are we really going to know until we have years and years and years of research? Probably not. So I say go for it. A lot of people love their air fryers. It's a great way to limit fat intake and to get that different texture when you are cooking foods. That being said, there are a ton of different ways to cook food, okay? So we can bake it, we can grill it, we can broil it, we can, what was the other one? Boil it. So I encourage my clients to learn all different types of cooking techniques. That way you get different textures, different flavors. The grill gets some great flavor on your foods, and none of those require oil at all or an air fryer. So there are a lot of different ways to cook your food that don't involve either one of those things that could possibly be a better option than air frying or deep frying. So hope that helped, Holly, but a lot of people are saying, go for it. It's awesome. Love the taste. And obviously you're saving some calories there. Question number 2, my sister Holly, so we got one Holly and then another Holly Taylor and then Holly Osborne. So my sister Holly asks, steamed veggies are great, but what are some other quick veggie hacks? I do tons of fresh, but I have been told that frozen or flash frozen hold more nutritional value. Fresh is more expensive and expires quicker. Should I work more with frozen from a nutritional and economic point of view? Am I missing that much? I'm definitely going frozen fruits for everything other than bananas these days. So there's kind of two different positions that we want to talk about when we're answering this question. So first and foremost, the idea that fresh is more expensive than frozen. That depends. So I did a quick I hopped on Dillon's because I assume that's where most of us get our groceries from. I hopped on Dillon's, and if you buy 32 ounces of broccoli florets, you'll pay $4, okay, for 32 ounces. And that's about 13 cents an ounce. If you go to the frozen section and you buy a 10.8 ounce bag frozen of florets, you'll pay about $2. So that's technically about 18 cents an ounce. So if you're looking ounce per ounce, you're actually paying more in the frozen section. It's not much, but it is a little bit more. So just keep that in mind. Also, as we know, vegetables that are in season tend to be a little bit less expensive. So you may try and go that route as well. Make sure you know what vegetables are fresh in season at the time. But as you know, our mother has a farm. It's always a good idea to choose locally grown food so that you get the most nutrient dense and the freshest foods possible, but you're going to pay the price for that as well. So those are all things to consider though, especially as we go into the fact that our soil quality is declining each and every day. There's been studies done that the nutrient density of our fruits and vegetables these days has declined by like 80%. So it's really crazy how much we've depleted the soil. So another thing to consider would obviously be make sure you are getting a good quality multivitamin in your daily kind of routine. So, but on the topic of fresh versus frozen and nutrient density, long story short, they've done a lot of studies and there's really not that big a difference. So when you pull vegetables straight from the ground, if they're being like shipped to say a grocery store, it could take as many as 3 weeks to get there. So they're actually pulling the vegetables before they're at their peak of ripeness, which means they're not reaching their full nutrient profile. So you're losing a little bit of nutrients when you eat fresh produce because they're picking it before they're ripe, so it has time to get to you, and it's not expiring before then, or it's not going rotten before then. But when you choose frozen vegetables, yes, they're picked at the peak of ripeness, they are usually frozen right away, but sometimes they're also blanched, especially if we're talking about vegetables. So they blanch them to retain a lot of the color, make sure they don't spoil, all these good things, but that also takes some of the nutrients out of it. So it's kind of a toss-up. They've done a lot of different studies and there's really not that big a difference between fresh and frozen. So I would say do whatever's easiest for you. I know for me, I don't do a ton of fresh. Well, I think I do 50-50. 50% fresh, 50% frozen. It depends on kind of what you enjoy to eat, but also if I'm throwing foods away a lot, that really irritates me. So things like my baby carrots are something that I buy fresh. My spinach is something that I buy fresh just because I don't enjoy frozen. But everything else, I pretty much do frozen. Frozen peas, frozen broccoli, all these things that kind of tend to go bad before we're ready to eat them. I don't like throwing things away. So it also depends on, you know, what foods are you eating the most and how quickly are you eating them. So, but as I said, long story short, not a big difference between fresh or frozen. Just do what's best for you and yeah, make sure you're getting your veggies in. Absolutely. All right, final question, and this is going to be the kicker, and this one's going to take me a while. So Jennifer Woods asked, what part do macros play in all of this if calories is the key to weight loss / management or maintenance? So we are going to briefly talk about the Muscle and Strength Nutrition Pyramid by Eric Helms. I'm going to give you an abridged version, and I also posted a link to a more drawn out version of the explanation of the pyramid a couple of posts back. So I'll repost that again under the comments in this video, but I'm going to give you a super quick kind of outline. So I'm going to pull this closer so you guys can see it a little better, but you may not see me. But that's okay because you can't see my pajama pants on, right? Okay, so when we're talking about weight loss, first and foremost, this is what's most important, energy balance, okay? That's when we're talking about calories in versus calories out. This seriously is, guys, the end-all be-all for weight loss or weight gain, okay? If you are taking in more calories than you are burning, obviously you're going to gain weight. If you are expending more calories than you are taking in, obviously you're going to lose weight. So that is the law of thermodynamics. There is no way around it. If you are a human being, you are at the mercy of this law, okay? So that is the most important, the base of this pyramid, okay? It's the biggest part of your weight loss journey, all right, is energy balance, calories in, calories out. After that, then we can talk about macronutrients. So these are your proteins, carbs, and fat. Those are the three major macronutrients that we pay attention to. They're actually adding in alcohol as the fourth macronutrient, which I think is terrible because most of us should not be drinking that much alcohol to make it a macronutrient, but it is what it is. That's what society has come to. So there is a fourth macronutrient, alcohol. So what macros allow us to do are to actually not hack our system, because you can't hack your body, but if we want that toned look, if we want to maintain as much muscle mass as possible while losing weight, we have got to be eating some amount of protein. okay? So protein is the macronutrient that helps us hold on to our muscle. It's what helps us not atrophy to the point that we're just walking around like a noodle, okay? I don't know if you've seen, some people who lose a ginormous amount of weight. They're kind of, well, number one, they got a lot of loose skin, can't do anything about that, but they don't look fit. And this was part of my problem when I ran my marathon back in 2011. I lost a lot of weight, but I still didn't look very fit. And the problem was, yes, I was burning more calories than I was taking in, but I wasn't eating the right things to achieve my goals. So I was in the weight room a little bit, but I probably wasn't building that much muscle because I wasn't feeding my muscles what they needed, which is protein, okay? Muscles need protein to recover and grow, all right? So proteins, carbs, and fat. Carbs and fats, this is highly individual per person, okay? So a lot of times I'll have my clients do like 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. And then between the carbs and fat, it doesn't really matter that much as long as you're keeping your calories in check, okay? So it could be like somebody really enjoys high fat foods. Somebody enjoys nuts, somebody enjoys nut butters, things like that. Tends to go towards more of a keto type diet and thinks that's easier to stick to, then by all means, go for it. Now, on the other hand, if you're like me, I really, really enjoy my carbs. So I'm going to go for a more high carb or moderate protein, low fat diet. So macros are super important. And as you're continuing your journey, if you are trying to, this is almost like honing in on the results that you want, okay? So down here, we're saying, I just want to lose weight. Up here, we're saying, I want to lose fat, okay? So that's the difference between weight loss and fat loss is macronutrients. All right, I hope that makes sense. So after we have our calorie balance taken care of, after we have honed in on our macronutrients and we're making sure we get enough protein, then we can look at micronutrients. So a lot of people put the cart before the horse. They're going to say things like, oh, I need to make sure I'm getting my fiber in, or, oh, I'm not getting enough iron, or, oh, I'm eating too much sugar. Guys, if you don't have these two things under control, this one doesn't matter, okay? So we can't put things like sugar and fiber intake above our macronutrients or our energy balance, okay? Above that would be nutrient timing. So that would be when are you eating your meals, how close to your workout, are you intermittent fasting, things like that. That would be nutrient timing, all right? And then last but not least, well, last but certainly least, is supplements. A lot of people go straight to supplements. What can I take that will help me lose fat? Guys, if all of this is not in order, it doesn't matter what you're taking. You're not going to lose weight or fat, okay? So, again, that was a super, super quick version of this pyramid, and I will be posting a video that's a little bit more in-depth for you guys to review if you are interested in that kind of thing. But, Jen, to answer your question, macronutrients are important for fat loss, maybe not necessarily weight loss. And for most of us, I think we put way too much stock in the number on the scale. We're actually looking for a look in the mirror, but we put all of our energy into this number on the scale instead, when in all actuality, we should be saying, how do I feel? What do my measurements look like? What do my progress photos look like? And not letting the scale determine so much of our quote-unquote success. So I hope that was helpful, guys. If you have any questions about anything in this video or any other questions, please feel free to reach out. I know that was super, super quick. That was definitely an abridged version, okay? There's a lot more that goes into this, but I hope that kind of gave you a bird's eye view of why macronutrients are important, and hopefully we can start kind of honing in on making some better food choices. Obviously, all of this works together to create your health. Your health and fitness is the most important thing when we're talking about how we're taking in and fueling our bodies and making sure that we're getting enough veggies and protein. And I think it's great that you guys are here and actually being mindful of what you're putting in your body. You are leaps and bounds above most of the population. Obviously, we've got a 50% obesity rate. So yeah, any other questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I hope that was helpful.